Well, greetings. I'm David Kong, the founder and principal of DI Advisors. We are delighted to have Ted Zhang, the founder and CEO of DerbySoft, on our show today. DerbySoft is a leading hospitality technology company that provides distribution connectivity, marketing campaign management, and content management services in 197 countries. It connects to all the major travel intermediaries and meta search engines and works with almost all the global, regional, and domestic hotel companies. And just to give you a sense of the scale, it processes about 12 million room night bookings a month. Ted, welcome to the show. Ted, I was impressed to read about your background and how you founded DerbySoft. Would you mind sharing your personal career journey with our audience?
Sure. Dave, we know each other for a long time. Actually, I was an engineer in Silicon Valley for many, many years before I started this company. One day, I just think, Jesus, this is the internet generation. I should do something by myself. Then I just start to, since I like travel, so I just started a company try to sell hotel rooms. That time, we believe, I have money as a guest, and if I want to search, I can search hotel, and the hotel should search my money too. So that time we try to build up like a reverse auction type of site to for the market. However, I quickly found that there was a company called Priceline did a similar thing. So finally, we decided to do something different. We believe that time. We believe in the future, every travel company will have its own system. Those systems will connect together eventually to form a global data network. So that is different from GDS. GDS is a centralized system, and everybody come to the GDS to exchange their product. However, the GDN is different. It's everybody just stay in their own system and be able to work with others. So that is should be the future. We believe that time. I still believe so. So then we just start think about how to achieve that big picture. We believe we need to connect. First of all, we need to connect the different companies together. Ensure the customer, like hotel, be able to open partial of the data of their data to their partners to share those data. So that's why we start this company. Now, obviously, even today is still a little bit too early. Lots of people still don't have a robust. Lots of companies still do not have a robust system to support their business. However, we still believe one day. All the travel companies, if you want to be in this segment, you need to have your system. Your system must be open to your partners. Eventually, you will be partial of global data network.
That was a very astute and bold vision at the time, and you are beginning to bring it to life. And in fact, you've succeeded very, very well. And I've been most impressed with what you've been able to do. And related to that question and your comments is the fact that in 2005, Thomas Friedman wrote a famous book, The World is Flat. It's about globalization, leveling the playing field for commerce. And it's uncanny that a long time ago, you've also made a comment that the distribution world is flat. Would you mind to elaborate?
Well, I still believe the world is flat. Yes, when we start a company, we have at least two major assumptions. The number one assumption is the internet will really penetrate to the entire world. And the second one is the global economy. Basically, we will travel to everywhere. So basically, we need to connect all the world together. So that is the two major assumptions. Yes, today, we see some challenges. You see the geopoliticals, you see the governor risk and the compliant GRC things, all the local GRC. Honestly, for me, I believe that is what we see today is for better globalization, actually. Yes, globalization is not for free. There was a lot of challenge. We need to always balance globalization and localization. So this is why, yes, we will face lots of challenge. However, I do believe, human being will overcome the difficulty, and globalization it's not just concept. It's really the driver of human being growth. We read the book, what that guy's name, the, the brief history of a human being, that book. Basically, we have today, because we travel around, because we work together, because we have different people work on different things. Eventually, we turn to be very strong. So globalization just like that. Different people work on different things, make a human being even more stronger and stronger. So I still believe globalization.
No, that's well said. I admire you for saying that. Another thing that I admire about you is you took a concept and you are starting to bring it to life, and it's not easy because we all know when you're working for someone, you have the comfort and security of getting a paycheck. But when you have a startup, you are in uncharted territories. And I was wondering, what are some of the success factors in launching a startup in your mind?
Well, you can tell I still believe whatever I believed 20 years ago. So I think the first and the most important things, what do you believe? So you need to ask yourself, put your hand on your heart and ask yourself what you really believe into it. So if you believe it, then you have power. You can overcome difficulties. You're strong. So second, I believe you always need to think about the past, how to contribute to what you believe, and how to step by step to connect what you believe to real world. So basically, practical is my second term, a word I will definitely use. And the third one, very important, patient. 20 years, DerbySoft this month, next month, 20 years. So 20 years, step by step, you need to have patience. I do remember at the first beginning, we have three founders. And the guy is the CEO, I'm president, and the CTO, Feng is CTO. So after working in this industry for like even just 1.5 years, he said, no, travel industry is too difficult, too diversified. We should find something else. This is too hard. Well, I told him nothing easy. If you think something hard, maybe something easy, maybe it's too easy. So, we finally, he left the company. So I pick up the CEO position, basically step by step, bring the company to today. So patient, it's very important.
Yeah, no, I do agree with you on that. All three very valid points. Thanks for sharing that. Now, Jeff Bezos had famously said, it's always day one, because day two is stasis. So he has a company that's quite old, but he continued to create excitement. And although he's no longer the CEO, you can see that Amazon is still very successful because of that attitude. And I was wondering, your company is 20 some years old also. How do you continue to build that momentum?
Well, sometimes it's hard. Honestly, sometimes I wake up in the morning, I feel, Jesus, I'm old. I'm close to 60. Should I still working this hard? I always tell myself, yes, the mission is not complete yet. So we still have a goal there. So again, if you have the mission in your heart, then you have the momentum. You get up early. I get up early every day, like 5 o'clock. So basically, mission, it's really deep in my heart, and that's my responsibility. That's my dream. I want to do something, to contribute to the industry. So that is major momentum for myself. For the company, yes, 20 years, lots of people here for a long, long time. You have to build up the strategic map, process, and make sure everybody still can work effectively. You cannot just depend on passion for every single day. Passion is important. maybe just for top leaders, but for most of people, you want to maintain the momentum. You always need to develop your corporate strategy, your corporate strategy map, your department strategy map. You have full perspective, finance perspective, customer perspective, process perspective, people's team capability perspective. You always use this four perspective to develop the strategic map and ensure your team can maintain the momentum based on some logic.
That's great. Thanks for sharing that framework. It's really well said. Now, we all know our careers are never smooth sailing all the time, and you must have experienced some setbacks and disappointments. Would you mind sharing some of those and what lessons you've learned from that?
Oh, if you have time, I can tell you these several days. I have lots of setback for sure. First of all, the challenge I face today. Let's talk about the challenge I face today. The challenge I face today, is really lots of companies, hotel companies, they want to bring the connection direct. Basically, even the prices, if they do by themselves, even the performance is worse, the price is high, but they still don't want to depend on one company to do the connection. They can depend on the electronic company to provide the electricity, but they don't want to depend on one company to provide a connectivity service. Well, I think they are definitely absolutely reasonable. So for us, we also need to think about how we show the people we are another electronic utility company. We are strong. We are very strong. We are big. We can support them. So this is why in long term, I always buy the very high insurance. We have cash, in bank, and make sure ourselves very safe. If we safe, customer feel better. So that's the thing, I'm fighting on. I'll try to tell people, we are very safe company. Even year 2020, we still break even because we all the major team only take half salary, myself 50%. So then we ensure the company is still profitable. Then we can support our customer. So DerbySoft is a safe company. I want to pass that message through you also to the industry. And in the early days, of course, we face the challenge of internal communication. We face the challenge, the global customer communication. So I remember a couple of years ago, we have a company survey. Basically, we ask the employees, what do you feel this company? What's the problem we have? You believe? And employees come back to me and say, hey, we are not clear about the company, the strategy. I said, Jesus, I write these kind of things to my N-1 team every year, and they should pass to everybody too. Why people still don't understand, don't clear about the strategy? Well, eventually I figured out, if you don't put everything on paper to everyone, and also open your heart to communicate with them, they never get it. So finally, we start to develop the company strategy, and also a strategic map, then link to a department map, link to people's KPI, that people can click in the BetterWorks, the system we use to maintain the entire process. They can click from their job, their KPI, back to the company strategy. So today, everybody's thinking, well, the strategy, company strategy, loud and clear, right? So that's one thing I learned hard way. Also, even early, we invest lots of money to many products same time. So finally, one day, suddenly we found, Jesus, we don't have money in the bank. Year 2008, we invest a lot of money to lots of products, but we assume we can raise the money in year 2008, but eventually, no, we can't. The finance crisis, nobody put the money in. So immediately, we in bad situation. We have to lay off people from 240 to 70.
Oh, wow.
That is a big pain in my entire life. Some people just come to me, they quiet, say, Ted, I did nothing wrong. Why you let me go? So that moment is really truly breaking my heart. So I swear to God, those kind of things will never ever happen to DerbySoft. So this is why we since that day I go back the investors. I cut my salary to zero for 2 years, and depend on my wife to pay all the bill and bring the company back. Then since that day, we always profitable. Even year 2020, we profitable. We will ensure this company always have a deep pocket, always can deal with any terrible situation to guarantee our customer safe or employee safe. But of course, we don't want to pass the message to employees say, hey, no matter whatsoever you're safe here. We want those people who can really contribute to the company will be safe. That is promise to the customer. That is promise to my employees.
Wow. Well, I'm really impressed to hear that. I've always thought that setbacks and disappointments are learning opportunities, and you certainly weathered a number of storms. The financial crisis in 2008, the pandemic, and so on and so forth. And I'm really impressed that you go back to the foundation that you've built, whether it's from a financial standpoint or taking care of your people, valuing them and putting them first, as well as a quality foundation, because nobody can ever take that away from you. Those are great lessons. Thanks so much for sharing that. Now, related to this question is your approach to challenges. How do you approach it when you face big challenges? How do you approach it?
Yeah, I want to give I want to tell you a story. Year 2020, the pandemic come over. One day we have management meeting and say, hey, what's going on for this month? That's the April, year 2020. We figure out we lost $3 million in that month because we are transaction based. However, we are materialize the transaction. That means you generate a booking, we take your money, but the booking canceled. We need to pay your money back.
Yeah.
So then suddenly we lost the 3 point something million US dollar. So we immediately realized if we losing money this way, if the pandemic going this way, we could be bankruptcy. So we immediately have the meeting with the upper management team to define the principle to handle this kind of situation. So that is our habit. When we face important things, we come down to develop the principle we should follow. And this principle need to fully communicate with the entire team. So we discussed our principle, which is number one, customer first. We need to protect the customer, make sure customer, no matter whatsoever, not hurt by this pandemic. That means, no matter whatsoever, we need to protect the customer. Now we define how much money in the bank is enough to operate our business. Finally, we found that we need to keep this money in the bank no matter whatsoever. And on top of this money, we need to understand if we need to maintain the minimal operation, what kind of people we need, who we need to keep in this company. Finally, long story short, after one day meeting, I create the proposal back to the management team, discuss about it. Finally, we make the final decision. This is our proposal. This is our principle. Number one, customer first. Never, ever hurt the customer. Number two, we need to cut those departments far away from customer. So we define this name of those departments. We'll see if we reach this kind of a cash reserve, we need to cut this department. If we reach this cash reserve, we need to cut that department. Of course, the department head in the meeting room, they said, why me? Why is not somebody else? I said, well, let's talk about it. If not you, who should be the person? The department should be cut. Let's talk about it. Eventually, we reach agreement. We have great people. Even some people will be cut first, but they understand. They say, yeah, sounds like my department should be cut because based on our principle here, we are far away from the revenue. We are far away from the customer. So yeah, we should, Thanks God, we never reached that level of the people. then our revenue start to come back. So basically, long story short, I want to see when deal with the terrible situation, deal with any situation, basically. Let's sit down to talk about principles. Let's sit down to fully communicate. Let's sit down to make a decision with the two things. The most important. Number one, customer. Number two, employees. Let's keep this two in mind, and in this order too, to develop the principle to deal with any situation.
I really like your guiding principles of taking care of your customer and taking care of your employees, because without them, you have no business. And that was really good of you to use that as guiding principles. And then I think you also talked about being calm and getting people involved and figuring out the plan and communicate in times of crisis. That's really well said. Well, we all remember how scary it was back in March and April of 2020 during the pandemic. There was so much unknown and everyone was scared, not just for the business, but for themselves personally, right? We're all afraid of getting sick or loved ones getting sick. It was pretty scary times.
Yeah, I saw you talk to president, how to deal with the pandemic.
Yeah, those were scary times. And in your situation, it's even worse. I mean, I could just picture, not only do you have no revenue coming in because there were no bookings, you also had a lot of cancellations, which meant that you have a lot of money going out. That's really scary, right? You gotta wonder how long you can sustain yourself like that.
Yeah, to tell you the truth, when I operate the company in the last couple of years, I always try to maintain the growth rate plus profit rate around the 40%. Yeah. So sometimes our investor push us very hard to grow, raise price, grow. We always turn them down. I say, no, I'm run the show, so let me do my job. So don't push me. But basically, we want to ensure we are not just grow, and also we need profitable, because that is money, not for me. That is the money I put on site for our customers. I want to ensure something happens, such as pandemic, the business as usual. There's one major hotel company. We have a very sad, that time, it's in May or June, I forgot. I have a very sad meeting. We get them together. Those guys said, hey, Ted, we will go home. Basically, we follow home. We cannot work anymore. However, we have 160 connections. Those connections in your hand. So you guys need to make sure those connections, no matter whatsoever, will not done. Even there was one booking or two booking, that's fine. We keep it. We want to keep it open. I said, go home, do whatever you want. Leave to me. We will make sure, those connections stable, safe. If we have issues, we contact you. So basically, yeah, as a technology company, as a service provider, that's our responsibility.
Yeah, Ted, I want to just say thank you, because during that time when I was CEO at Best Western, everybody was worried about the run rate and how much cash they have on hand, and all have to preserve cash. And we appreciate DerbySoft giving us very attractive payment terms, allowing us to stretch out the payment over a period of time to protect our cash reserve. We thank you for that. And not only that, but to your point, you maintain all the connections. And in fact, you continue to maintain the highest quality certification with all the online travel agents like Expedia and Booking, which was absolutely remarkable, because we're all cutting back on our staff. And yet you manage to take care of your customers that way. And I think in many ways that was a defining moment for DerbySoft. In my mind, DerbySoft was just tremendous. They took care of the customers, both in terms of financial payment terms and also maintained the connection and show that it was working. And business did come back. And
yes,
we continued to process reservations through you, and it was just great. It was a true partnership. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Dave. We learn a lot from you and the Best Western, and also we have today is not just because of we smart, because you guys support us. You always trust us. This kind of trust is tremendous for us. We need to pay that trust back. So we will always keep that kind of position. If you use DerbySoft, you're safe. No matter whatsoever, you're safe. We will protect your partnership for sure.
Well, thank you. The feeling is mutual. Now let's switch gears and talk about diversity. You do business in 197 countries, and you also have offices in all the major regions of the world. Not only is the language and culture different, the way that business is done is also different. It must be tremendously complex. And how do you manage that diversity across these different regions of the world?
Yeah, this is a very interesting topic. Actually, this last Saturday, the Harvard student union, maybe it's what I call Harvard union. Yeah, they have a Harvard student association. So they coordinate a meeting and also invite me to talk about this topic. Honestly, yes, we have people from 10 different countries, and also we speak different language. And also we have 500 people, but 150 people outside China. A small company, but a very diversified. So honestly, when we start to go into global business, to have actually we started going to global business day one. We are very lucky to have a lot of great people like Keith, Duan, Ken, those people. We worked together before. Actually, they are our customer at the first beginning. So that's easily we're already friends. We get together and we start to do something. That's very natural. However, when we're getting bigger and bigger and more people, we cannot always hire our friend, right? So basically, we also build up some principles. So for such a diversified team, they from different background, culture background. They from different they have different mother language. So that's turned everything pretty difficult. So we in our company principle, we said the trust is everything. So we need to respect and trust people. So this is why, in at first beginning, if you really respect people, respect the difference, then everything is going to be easier. Second, we will also build up the principle, have company principle, have 10 different company principles. In those principles, we say, hey, no matter who you are, you are team of DerbySoft. Member of team of the DerbySoft the team. So if you are the team member, we need to agree these principles. We define the principle. For example, the first principle is customer obsession. Means if everything related to customer, you need to pay attention. You need to be very serious, no matter what kind of language you have, no matter what kind of culture you have. For example, some people said, in my country we take a break in the holiday. We don't care job. We respect that. We don't assign the job to people in the holiday. However, if something related to customer, you have to jump into it no matter whatsoever. If you disagree, you don't have to stay here. So we have the principles. We fully communicate this principle with the customer, no matter what kind of culture, no matter what kind of language. We put on the paper. We communicate it. We make the final decision. So respect, trust, then principles make us have a very good foundation to be as a team member.
So tell me, are those principles what you use to make sure that employees in Europe don't feel like the decisions are driven by someone in Dallas, your headquarters, or Shanghai, where you're stationed? And do they have a say?
Well, sometimes that's a challenge. So this is why, actually, I will travel around the world to meet my people face to face. For example, next January I will fly to Europe to meet my people there. So basically, we need to travel. We need to meet people. We need to communicate with them. We need to build up the trustship. So sometimes, because we have different language, sometimes language is even too much. We need to put our hand on our heart and say, hey, I'm your CEO. I'm here. I want to communicate with you. This is what we want to do to build up a great company. Do you agree? So if you have issue, please. So this is why every year we have a customer survey. So basically, we hired a very famous company in the world to do the survey, and also we always listen to the customer, listen to the employees. Employee survey, sorry, employee survey. We always listen to the employees and figure out how we be better together to create a successful company.
Well, you obviously care deeply about your employees. That you actually engage, I think, Mercer, right, which is a very well-known consulting company in this area, and
Yeah.
their work is fabulous. But that's an investment on your part, and I'm impressed that you do that. And you're traveling all over the place and spending time with employees. That must really help also. But it goes back to the same set of core values that everyone believes in. And you instill that in them, which is also remarkable. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, the diversity, equity, and inclusion, also very, very, very big words for us too.
For sure. You have been a very effective and successful CEO of a major global company. Tell us about your leadership style.
Honestly, I believe I'm very enjoy communicate with the people. I'm a people-oriented person, so this is why my style is always communicate. Communication is the first word for me. I have a lunch with my people. I just go downstairs, walk in the park to talk to my people. Basically, communication. I think formal and non-formal is very important. I'm not a typical CEO. CEO, you big guy, you just try to be serious. No, I'm just same as anybody in the company. So we communicate. We're just like friends. Sometimes even for example, I just invite the VP hotel from the very big company to join us as VP, and he said I always call him call his brother, right? Before he was in that company. I call him little brother. So basically, he joined the company. He said, "You cannot call me little brother anymore." I said, "Why not? If you do something wrong, you are still same. Because I do believe I trust I treat everybody same. So this I call you whatever. It doesn't matter. So people know it. You know it. You will know it, and I know it. So basically, the communication is very key. We need to always keep communicating, whatever style, with the people. Second is principle. I always try to build up the principles for big things and small things. We have a company principle, we have a department principle. Even we have a project, we have a principle to deal with such a project. For example, we just we have the one project from the very big hotel companies to build up their big data house right here in China. At first beginning, it's mass. Then we say, hey, why mass? Because you have a global team, you have a local team, you have DerbySoft, you have all different people. Let's sit down together to create the principle to guide us to achieve this common goal. Eventually, this project is very successful. Customer very happy. So principle is the second big word. Third one is transparency. Like we said in the pandemic, we define which department will be cut first and communicate with people. Say, hey, if not your department, which one? Let's talk about it. So transparency is a really third big word for me. And the last one, but not least, is measurement. If you don't measure, it's unfair. If to be fair to customer, you need to measure everything based on the numbers to operate your business, not based on whether he's your little brother or something else. Based on those numbers, the measurement, it's another major word for my style.
No, I appreciate that. Those 4 things that you talked about are so good. Being transparent and having open communication, they build trust, and that's really fundamental foundation to any relationship. And when you're leading people, that's the number one thing that we should all aspire to achieve. And I like what you said about principles, because then you all agree to doing things a certain way and accomplishing certain goals. And then you share all that. That's great. And measurement is obviously accountability, which is also important. Thanks for sharing those thoughts. Now, when you interview candidates for executive level positions, the highest level positions in your company, what qualities do you normally look for?
Actually, one of our principle about people is we always put great people on the right position. So how to define the great people? We define the great people have both great character and also great capability. Great character generally means being a radical truth and self-criticize and deep commit to the job, and also respect others. For great capability means the ability and the skill do the job excellent and deliver the results. So that is the we use to we'll put it in the principle actually. When we interview the people, when we have the team leaders, generally we use we define the four major perspective to filter, to fund the people, the right people. The number one is strategic mindset. As a leader, especially corporate level top leader, you got to have a strategic mindset. For example, we develop a strategic map. We together to develop a strategic map. So those kind of strategic mindset is very important for a leader. The second is a result oriented. Some people always, we don't want, lots of people lip service. Well, come on, yes, you can have a lip service, but you still need to deliver the results. Then you need to let me know how you deliver those results. So every time, for example, we have a budget, we need to estimate every connection we have and every opportunity we know for next year. So the results oriented is second character for any leader in DerbySoft. And also, because like you said, we're from different people, we're from different countries, we have different language. So effective communication tend to be another important character for leader. And the last one is effectively develop the team. Because one person, what you can do very limited. So you gotta have a capability to develop the team. You need to have a methodology. You need to have the mindset. You need to have great character and be able to develop the team. So that is the four things, major things we used to fund the leadership.
That's great. That's great. Now, related to that, I am wondering if someone came to you and said they wanted to aspire to be in your position one day, what would be your advice to them?
You mean somebody come to my position?
Yeah, like somebody in your company said, I want to be in your shoes. I want to sit in your chair.
Yes. First of all, like I said, the CEO need to have a very high standard of morale. So you need to always understand you as a CEO actually is the largest bottleneck of the company. So we have to always learn. We have to always enlarge our knowledge base or cognition. Make sure we always grow. If we don't grow, the company cannot grow. If CEO cannot grow, the company cannot grow. So if someone want to take my position, which is great, I want someone to take my position anyway. However, my advice is really always think you are the bottleneck of the company. You always need to grow. If you don't grow, enlarge your cognition, the company go nowhere.
That's so well said. Some people that I've interviewed said you always have to be intellectually curious. Some people said you have to sharpen your sword, but it all boils down to the same thing. Everyone has to grow.
Well,
Yeah,
if
they
you think
evolve over
you are the
time.
bottleneck of the company, you got to be
Yeah.
sharp. You need to do whatever things you do to make sure you are not the bottleneck, right?
I'm sure you're not the bottleneck, you're the switch for the company.
I hope
Our
so.
show is about personal empowerment. Can you share a parting advice to the audience?
Uh, well, I personal have in my life, I have a four keyword. The number one is integrity. So integrity is always important for anybody, especially for CEO. The second one, I use methodology. Yes, there was lots of difficulties, there were lots of challenges. However, you can always find a way to address those challenges. For example, I saw my people criticize or challenge my leadership of pass the strategy to everybody. People say, hey, I don't know company strategy. I'm not clear. That's obviously my responsibility. Now I need to think, Jesus, how I can address this issue. Finally, I found a balanced scorecard and a strategic map and use this kind of a methodology to address issues. Also, I'll give you another example. One day I work with another hotel company for one project. It's also a mess. Now, walking, I say, hey, what's going on here? Let's see. Can you show me the racing table? Who take what response? Who is the A for this project? Then eventually I found that, customer believe DerbySoft is A, DerbySoft believe customer is A. Nobody's A. I said, well, apply the racing to this team. I will be the A. Let's clear the responsibility and first let's scope of work first. So RACI help us, a little methodology help us immediately change the situation. So
So
methodology.
can I just stop you for a minute, because I'm not sure the audience understand RACI charts or what the term RACI stands for. So you start talking about A, accountability, but why don't you explain what RACI means?
Yeah, RACI is a four keyword. R is responsibility, A is accountable, C is consult, and I is inform. That is, this RACI means in the team, we have four different people. A only can have one, means he's accountable for this project. He's take a leadership for this project. R have a different R. So it's R customer knowledge, R technology, R UI, user experience. Your R can have different R, but the A can only have one. Then C is consult. If we need to make this happen, who we should consult? I is inform. If we have moved forward, if we do something, who we should inform. So basically, that's four roles in the entire project.
Yeah, that's a wonderful way actually to clarify responsibilities. It's a very good thing to do. Get people involved and engaged and clearly define roles and responsibilities. I use that a lot too. Thanks for sharing that, Ted. But you were continuing.
Yeah.
Can you continue with that?
Yeah, the third one is diligent. So yes, we need working hard, no matter whatsoever. So like I just said, I generally get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So no matter whatsoever, we need working hard. Even you're smart, even you have deep pocketed whatsoever, you still need working hard. And the last one is modesty. Always keep humble. We always need to remember, whatever we have today, not just because we're smart, or not just because we're working hard, because the trust from the customer, because the trust of partners. So we need to always put our head down, always humble and modesty is a big word for us.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that. Those are wonderful advice that you dispensed just now. I appreciate that. I'm afraid we're running out of time. I feel like I can talk to you forever, but so sorry that we are out of time. Thank you again very much for joining us from Shanghai today. I know you are busy. You're going to San Francisco next, and thank you again for taking the time, Ted. And to our audience,
always nice to see you, and hope we can meet somewhere in person soon.
I hope so. And to our audience, thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this show, I hope you will visit us on our website, deiadvisors.org. Thank you again. Bye.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you.